This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributors. John, last year on the show, we talked about marriage and mortgages.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Today, we need to go the other way.
Yeah, let's go the opposite direction.
Let's do divorce and mortgages, okay? Now, I know this is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of folks out there, but it's real. This happens.
It's tender times for sure.
It is.
If you're unfortunate enough to have to go through it.
When and very often, we love doing our jobs when there's wonderful things happening in people's families. There's children, there's marriage, there's kids going off, leaving the home, leaving the nest, and getting their own home. Those are wonderful events, but sometimes we have to help people when the events aren't so wonderful.
Absolutely. It's actually one of the major drivers of a real estate transaction in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Very, very common to sell a home in a divorce, right? And
more
potentially
common than not,
leading to purchasing two other homes.
Yeah, normally you're splitting up a household.
Yeah.
You got to sell one bigger house and usually end up buying two smaller ones.
It's a common thing, sure.
It is quite common, and sometimes in a divorce, the house stays with one of the spouses, and then the other spouse moves on. That can happen too.
Yeah.
And a lot of it depends on their income levels, and
Yes.
also the fit. Are the kids? Do we want to keep the kids in that house? Do we want to keep them comfortable? There's so many elements to it.
Right.
If they wanted to take over, say
Right.
dad's divorcing mom, and mom's staying in the house, can she keep the mortgage, or how does that work?
I see a lot of divorce decrees, right, where one spouse in the divorce decree has the right to keep the property, but they have some obligation to get the divorced spouse, the other one, off of the financing. And that can be fairly straightforward if you're in a strong financial situation.
Right.
But if you're in a situation where you might be using new alimony you're receiving or new child support that you're receiving in order to qualify for that home, there are hurdles to come over.
Right.
There are mortgages or traditional mortgages out there. We have built-in rules for where you need to prove that you've got a track record of actually receiving those dollars in alimony, in child support, before it becomes sort of qualifiable income in a mortgage. So it's important to be giving yourself the time needed to meet those requirements prior to being forced to try to refinance the house or potentially being forced into selling it when you otherwise would not want to. Attorneys do a great job of anticipating a lot of things, but I've certainly seen divorce decrees where it's been left vague and in ways. I'll give you a recent example. I saw a divorce decree that basically said the husband had the right to keep the property should he choose not to sell it within a certain time period, and if he did keep the property, the spouse was entitled to a certain portion of the equity, the profits available on that house. But they didn't define any kind of formula. Was that before costs of a refinance? Is the husband supposed to pay all the costs of the refinance and the wife has no obligation to it? None of this was really spelled out in any detail, so it required cooperation between the now divorced parties to work that out.
Shelley, my partner, likes to say, we wear lots of hats. And in this case, we're counselors. We're helping them get through this process. Because the objective here for me is to help them sell the home for the most possible money so they both get nice checks.
Sure.
That's my objective for them. If someone's impeding our ability to do that, one side or the other is impeding our ability, I'm going to ask them, hey, listen, do you understand that by doing this, we're not going to be able to max out your dollars, and the time is money. We go into these conversations.
Right.
You have to have those very painful sometimes conversations about these types of things, because there's so much emotion tied to to a divorce, obviously. So we have to basically just help guide them through this foggy mess here sometimes.
Right. And keep them focused on what's good for them and not necessarily. Which the human side of it is there's an instinct to want to punish the other party at times.
Yes.
And you got to stay focused on what's good for you and less on the others.
This has been Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Thanks for listening. And remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN.